what are you thinking on his latest tweets with his arguments, like citing legal precedent for the SEC case?
Yeah, put it on the cover of Big Whoop magazine. I think that's cope more than anything. I do think that like the person that he is, it's just for education. It's just for context. He's just trying to let the public know that things are not as cut and dry as the letter sounds, that some people have made better defenses, some cases have made poor attacks. And I think he's just trying to provide to people, like, don't be so myopic in your analysis that you think that it's an open and shut case because someone sent me a letter.
I think if the SEC wants to fuck him, they're going to fuck him out there.
Yeah, but there's different ways, like there's different thresholds of getting, and I think that's where Richard is we'll see what kind of man he is, what he's really made of. Is he the kind of guy that will fold? I don't know, because I don't know what kind of pressure they'll put on him.
Do you think he'll settle?
I don't think that. I think that would be a very bizarre resort. The liquidity structure is garbage. If he sold the tokens, he would immediately put himself under misappropriation of funds, unregistered security, and probably in a public jury fraud. So I don't think that he'll do that. And I don't think, like, I'm not convinced that Richard Hart is a billionaire. I am friends with a billionaire. They are very different people. Their lifestyles are very different. He has a great sum of wealth and owns a lot of luxury assets. He's probably getting very close to $1 billion. As far as his personal wealth, I'm not talking about like SAC funds, but just as what he's accomplished for himself. But I don't think that money is the motive here. I think money is a very welcome prize that he eagerly anticipates disproportionate rewards in, but I don't think that's where his values stem from. And that's just my personal bias, but I don't think that that's going to be the case that he would sell. I think that would, like, whatever kind of, if you think he's in hot water now, selling, he's in a volcano.
Settle, bro. Settle the case.
He's not going to plead guilty, right? Because then they get whatever they want. So he'll settle, and they will draft a plea deal, and obfuscate him of admission of guilt. And the price tag I told Corey in the green room on stream before you guys even got the SEC letter is, I think, $33 million. I think it's a $33 million ticket that he pays, or thereabouts. Here's what I mean by will he fold? If they go, no more tweeting about cryptocurrency, no more blogging about cryptocurrency, no marketing cryptocurrencies, if they try to stick him on like limiting his free speech, then we will see if he's the type of guy that folds, or if he says these are inalienable rights and you can't stop me.
There is, and trust me, it's not $500. 33 million, even 24 million, whoever it was recently paid is nothing to sneeze at. But there is precedent of Richard saying, you know what, I'm just going to pay a $500 fine and not fly to Washington to fight this spam case, right? Which I would have done the same shit. But it does give you, and this is obviously a much larger scale, and you're not going to change the world by, being spam king, or, admitting that back in the day. But I knew when I first saw Richard that I knew what he was talking about. He was a good person, I think, for the most part, right? But given his health and the way he takes care of himself, there's a bitch in there. And they're going to find the bitch in him as much as they
those nipples, baby. They're going to squeeze the nips.
Right. He doesn't have kids, so they can't lock him down, lock them down, or, their rights up. He lives by himself. He doesn't have a wife. We're going to find out, though, how hard they squeeze. I honestly do think that it's not as big a squeeze, and since we are this close to the situation, it is far larger than it really is. But I do think there's there's a bitch in Richard, and we'll see if he is one or isn't. And, everybody's free to their own guidelines to what they would consider that,
Dude, would there be anything harder? Like, here's my dream scenario. They give him the plea deal, right? Big chunk of change. I'm throwing my number, $33 million, and no more talking about crypto. And he goes, counter offer. I'll pay your chump change, 33. I'm a billionaire. I'll pay your $33 million fee. But I'm going to talk about whatever the fuck I want. That's an inalienable right. And you can lock me up for 90 days. And they go, okay, we're locking up your boy. Then Richard goes into jail for 90 days and does nothing but sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, and dips. And he comes out with his commissary. He's got ramen noodles in the Louis Vuitton bags, walking out to the Rolls Royce, jacked jacked and goes, I really did need a personal trainer anyway.
Free for his ass for a year and a half. Should have launched Pulsechain, jacked and blasted. He had him since January 1st when he was going humble. You ain't humble. You ain't grateful for your life. You're eating too much still.
Dude, imagine how powerful his message becomes when he goes, oh yeah, did a bid for the homies on the block. Like, he comes out and he's just like, dude, you think they were gonna stop me from shilling my Ponzi? No chance, bud. I will go to your goddamn room. You're gonna clean the toilet before I get there, bitch. My lawyers will make sure of that. And then when I come out and I'm able to do 20 push-ups without breaking down and crying, everyone's going to suck my twice as hard. And everyone's going to be like, oh, he's the Dude, if you guys thought people were belligerent calling Richard Satoshi before, wait till he does a nickel in the pen and he comes out jacked with abs. Dude, we will have an epidemic on our hands as the population craters while full-grown, sexually fertile men cuck for Richard and no longer seek the satisfaction of a female partner.
It's funny talking about being sued and suing people because I've actually been there several times. I have sued people. I have been sued. You're not going to have a legitimate business with a lot of customers and not have this happen. I get it. I think I understand why, probably better than a lot of people, this has gone down. But what happens when you get sued? You call your attorney and then they respond.
It's totally true. Like, your weakness is everybody else's way out. No matter how much money, no matter how big Pulsechain gets, no matter what. Richard can always be made fun of because he doesn't take care of himself, right? So what do? You close all the areas that are lacking, right? Me, what is my biggest issue right now? My finances ain't where they need to be. If I were to ever, get in an argument, somebody could be like, oh, well, you're just broke. Right? Bam, I'm stuck. But Richard, already being a genius, so to speak, right? Already being rich, already having everything else. If he got himself jacked and there was literally nothing anybody could do if they were to actually ever meet face to face, none of it happens. None of it. None of the hate happens anymore. Now, all those haters, they go, man, I got nothing left. Maybe I have been jealous this whole time and I do want to be like that guy. And turn all those haters into lovers, right? My opinion on the matter, but I would love to see him come out jacked. That also tells me, hey, before V3 comes out and single-sided staking and all the shit we want, he ain't going to have a heart attack.
Well, the way I see it is, given volume on other chains, that's going to determine if people want to come here or not. There has to be volume. If there's no volume, it doesn't matter what dApps we have, because people, at the end of the day, 75% of people are just chasing the money. So, yeah, we can have 3 stable coins, we can have this, we can have that. That's all great. But 75% of the people are going to be chasing degen shit. So we need to make the chain fun, welcoming as a community, and allow those people to degen, get wrecked, do whatever that they have to do, as long as volume is increasing on the chain. And then that's going to bring people with the big bags over.
And NFT shops need to be running. I imagined we would be DCing into Pulse for 18 months. And this is looking like at least a year accumulation here. So this is one of those things that if you launched it a year earlier, can you imagine if it would have launched in 2012 and we would have been like, wow, okay, we got 2 years to the bull market, let's go. But yeah, it's around the corner, but we got a good year.
The smartest crypto community ever. Why can't I stop flooding my own bags?
Freedom of speech, you can do whatever you want. But all I ask is that
people don't like it, but I don't give a
yeah, all I ask is that, if don't go off of what people are saying all the time. Just actually go look at stuff and see how it works.
Yeah, I just been looking at the price chart.
So you guys understand that by building a foundation, in a broad level, when you build a house, if you don't build a good foundation, it'll get swept away, right, in a flood. And if you do build a foundation, and it's a strong foundation, it'll withstand anything, right? So now think about this, you guys. We're talking about builders. So you're talking about flooding your own bags. If people weren't building what they're building right now before the bull starts, it'd be like starting where we are right now. People aren't going to really like it. There's not a lot to do, and it's just going to kind of slowly, go up. It's not going to be like a hockey stick. But what's happening right now is that flooding your bags, which is fine because this is a bear market. Everybody does that because everybody's got doubts. It's just the way that human psychology works. But at the same time, all these projects are coming out, in the next 3 months. Now think about this. This is a brand new chain. Within 6 months, it's going to have 3 stablecoins. It's going to have a fork of GMX where people can gamble if they want on, leveraging. It's going to have an Aave fork where people can borrow against their own coins or their assets, right? It's already got an exchange. It's got a couple exchanges. It's got a balancer fork, right? So all these things are already here. So when people come here and start using it, like we are, because believe it or not, most people that come here stay here and continue to trade because they don't want to pay the fees on Ethereum. I don't know about you guys, but I don't go on Ethereum anymore unless I absolutely need to. And when that happens, can you guys imagine how fast the bull run in this chain is going to take off because of the foundation that's being built right now? So you could be negative and flood your own bags. That's fine. It happens to all of us. Because believe it or not, everything's negative in this market right now. And when there's red candles, everybody has doubts. But just know this, because of the builders in this community and the marketers, when things take off, they're gonna really take off because we have a really good foundation built here. And not only that, principally wise as well, because this RH ecosystem is not centralized. And because of that, it's gonna have a stronger foundation as well. Just keep that in mind. You know, it's nice to think about. It's hard to think about when everything's going so bad, you know. And so it all has to do with your perspective. So it like Curry said, if you are getting very angry right now and you don't feel good about the market being down, you're not investing right. Meaning that you're new to investing probably, and there's a lot you probably need to learn. And so like what he's saying makes perfect sense to me. And the past me would have been like, whatever, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about because I'm all about gains, right? And that's cool. That's okay. But if it's affecting your mood every day to where you're like, you need to start listening to somebody like him and improve your life, the best way to do that is to change how you're investing, and it will change everything. And so I'm only using me as an example because I can talk about myself. I'm not talking about anybody else. You know what I mean? And so and meeting Richard Hart, when he talked, I understood everything all of a sudden. It became crystal clear. There's things you're unhappy about and you don't know why. You'll get there. It's just when Curry's talking about, hey man, if you got small bags, you got a DCA and you're unhappy, I get that totally because there's a lot of people that way. And if you're one of them, you need to take a step back and really maybe learn more about investing as a whole instead of just jumping into this space and thinking you're going to be like Shippy said, a millionaire in a week, right? Because that's wrong. Everybody does that because they hear all the best stories, which really, really, really are rare.
Need Pulsex to transact, so even if they're coming over there to extract, they still need to buy Pulsex versus Pulse versus Pulsex.
Yeah, but Pulsex is the one with the burn function that like it's burning constantly on transactions. It's the only exchange that's doing it right now that provides to the ecosystem. So at some point in time, with billions of transactions, eventually, you're going to see on every buy that it's going to move up faster. So they will at some point move against each other. Like, I don't know, if you buy both of them at the same time, then once Pulsex burns enough, it'll move faster than Pulsechain. But Pulsechain in the long-term play just depends on how many dApps that are built underneath it. That's what I'm saying. They're not dApps building under Pulsex. It's the exchange. So, but it is constantly with the function is going to increase the value.